So I took that financial modeling evaluation analyst certification to give me the extra leg, but also to learn. I think you always want to learn.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of CFI Spin Pod podcast. We're doing my favorite series, Member Spotlight. And today I have here with me Nigel Rayford. Welcome, Nigel.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
And Nigel, can you tell us where you're joining us from today?
Yes, I am joining us actually live from Las Vegas.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. How long have you been in Las Vegas for?
Yesterday, just a quick trip.
Okay. I thought like you had moved to Las Vegas. I was like, you're uprooting your whole career and your whole life like over the last week.
No, but just a little vacation. But I am currently in Dallas, Texas.
Nice. Now, the question I like to always ask everyone is because for Member Spotlight, we have so many members of CFI. It's not realistic for everyone to be able to talk to each other because there's so many and everyone's kind of in all parts of the world. We love to put Member Spotlight out there so people could get to know the people that are also taking courses and just to familiarize yourself with the community that surrounds you. So I would love to understand, it's the question that I always pose. How did you start your kind of career in finance? So did you go to school for it? Did you always know that you wanted to do this? Or was it more of an accidental path? And when I say accidental, it just kind of means like, well, I needed a job after graduation and there was a job.
All right. No, that's a great question. So for me, my whole life, even probably when I was 10 or 11, like I would tell my parents, I want to be on Wall Street. Like that was, yeah. Like
What they
that's literally
say.
what I said. They said, okay, go do it. So they had full faith in me to complete that dream. And as I got older and I went to school, so I majored in economics with a minor in Chinese at the University of Oklahoma. And right before that time, I've been to Dallas a couple of times, and I always said Dallas will be the financial capital of the South. Like I called it way back then. And to see all the rush of money and almost every bank coming down to Dallas is also amazing. So econ was actually in the liberal arts college at the University of Oklahoma. It's in both, but I took it in liberal arts because with my minor in Chinese, it gave me more flexibility to study abroad.
Which is amazing, by the way. You have the foresight to say that Dallas is going to be the financial capital of the South, but you also took Chinese. Chinese, like, that's my big thing. I'm like, if you're going to learn a language, I'll tell my son, well, he's only like one, but if you're going to learn a language, it's going to be a program language in Chinese. That is, well, if you have those two, you are set.
It'll be good for success for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Wait, a quick question. Did either of your parents work in finance?
So my dad worked in corporate America, but he worked for oil companies. So born and raised out of Houston, so oil kind of dominates that region. But he was a toxicologist, so more on the chemical aspect. So didn't what I saw from him was kind of the corporate man, like getting dressed up, going to work, like going to the big downtown building, and that was kind of cool. I'm not going to front about that, but I kind of wanted that as well. Like, it makes you feel important. So I saw it from my dad, but he did something totally different. And my mom was a teacher. So education was always really big in my family. Like anything less than a B, they had a problem with. But I thrived to that. Like I excelled in almost all levels in all my classes. So when I was at Oklahoma for school, majoring in econ, needed a job, didn't get an internship to my last summer before I graduated. I had opportunity at Nationwide in Columbus, Ohio, through some networking where I worked with the CEO on a LinkedIn optimization project. It was kind of cool because I was the only intern picked to work with Kurt Walker. But at the time, he was just the president of the Nationwide Financial Services arm, but he was en route to be the CEO. So by the time I had to do my presentation to him, it was in his CEO office. Like I will never forget. I was a little bit nervous that morning, but once I actually stepped in his office, the nerves went away. Like it was like, okay,
nice.
Business. I'm about to present my summer project to you, and he loved it. Had a great opportunity, and they welcomed me back to join the retirement solutions department, where I worked with the retirement specialist as an ops analyst, facilitating like rollovers for the 401ks, 457Bs. So that was my entryway into finance, and it's only expanded from there.
And what would you say your biggest takeaway from that was, being able to work with someone who then eventually became like the CEO?
Um, it gave me confidence. It gave me confidence that I can talk to anybody. And I've always felt like that. I've done PowerPoint presentations and contests since I was like 8, and I would win them. So I always had a natural speaking ability. I am a member of Alpha Phi Fraternity Incorporated, and we had a regional convention in Houston while I was in school. And there was maybe about 3 to 5 thousand brothers at the convention for the assembly, and I had to speak and um, volunteer and tell them why I thought my chapter should be their fraternity chapter of the year. So that was in front of 5,000 people, and try to get up on stage. So just a natural speaking ability. Just there was nothing to scare me. So when I'm speaking to Kurt and just getting in his conversation and hearing his intellect, you kind of see why people are put in charge to run Fortune 500 companies.
Wow. And then today you're at Texas Capital, but from when you were at Nationwide to where you are today, there's a couple steps in between. So tell
Absolutely.
us what that was like. Also, like, tell us about all the life that happened in between, like any fun travels or whatnot. I know you're a big fan of traveling, so am I. And I
Yeah,
think it makes traveling, I think, is, especially when you're young, is a really important part of like your growth and your maturation.
agreed.
And it does a whole lot, I think, for just building character and just helping you figure out the world. So I'd love to hear from Nationwide to Texas Capital, all the stuff that happened in between.
Absolutely. COVID was one of them. So being in Columbus, Ohio during COVID, new region, never really settled in the Midwest for to live there. So during COVID, everything shut down. It's my first year out of college, and I never forget. It was like March 13th or March 15th, 3 months, and my first big boy job. And I'm told I have to go. I have to go home and work. And I met a set of friends that I love for life. Like they were mentors because they were all like older. Some of them were at Nationwide, and some of them were at EY or a member of my fraternity. So having um, kind of some mentorship while I was there to kind of help me navigate that space. So I didn't feel scared or didn't feel unprepared to work at Nationwide. That was really helpful. But then as time passed, I kind of went to come a little bit closer to Texas. Like with COVID, health, family, parents, so I really was far away. I had an opportunity to join Goldman Sachs. And I would never forget when I joined Goldman Sachs and got when I got the notification of the first interview, I almost like shed a tear. I was just like, what?
Oh my God,
Like
I love
be-
it.
because it's like a full circle. As a kid, I said I wanted to join Wall Street, and boom, like there's my entryway. Like there's the things that like God has blessed me with to like
And
accomplish
what
in
a
my
way
life.
to come out of COVID, right?
Right, right. What way to come out of COVID? So that moved me down to Dallas, where I worked in the private wealth management department, and that was awesome. And during that time, talk about travel. I traveled all over. I went to Dubai twice. Took my mom to
Wow.
Dubai and Singapore. Went to the Caribbean, Jamaica, Punta Cana.
Oh my gosh, I
So
love it.
so during that COVID time, I took advantage of the cheap flights. Like that was my friend. Like if you wanted to go somewhere, I would never forget. My mom was so nervous because she hasn't traveled, or she didn't travel that far in years. And then this is during COVID. She's older, so of course she's really nervous. And Singapore is very strict on the COVID policies and their vaccination policies. So to be able to go over there, see another world, as we say, like you need to travel. It helps you grow as you're younger. It's the exposure I think that we get from learning new cultures, trying new
Yeah.
foods, really immersing yourself in a whole nother place. Like I'll never forget the night I landed in Shanghai when I studied abroad. I I was speechless because I would look outside the window, see all these international planes from Germany, uh, Europe, Malaysia, like Africa, like just, and I was like, oh my God, I'm in China and it's nighttime. Like,
It's my favorite line. Oh my God, I'm in
how am I
China.
going to get there? Yeah. So that was also amazing. And then back to, pivot to my career, I really wanted to try to get into more strategy role within finance. And so S&P Global, they had an investors relations advisory role that I thought it would help me increase my toolkit. So be more on the front line, work with our public listed companies, investor relations officers, CFOs, really get that experience and understand their business and understand their story that they want to tell to their shareholders. So from an institutional perspective, like Vanguard, BlackRock, Citadel, so really focus on those names and not your retail investors like you and I, right?
And
So
for when you were at Goldman, you were in the private wealth group. Was it when they were, so the private wealth arm of Goldman hasn't been around for that long.
so the
So like,
the private wealth group, it's been around for, I do want to say, a good amount of time. They've done some consolidations within their departments, right? I think that's all banks do as they continue to grow. But they haven't been that around. They haven't been around that long in Dallas, and to really grow their presence. Like that was the time to where they were growing the Dallas office, very at a exponential rate. They had a lot of their team in New York and Chicago,
yeah, because
Miami.
private wealth is becoming one of the hugest, like one of the most significant lines of business that a bank has.
Right, right. And I think that segued me to really understand that business because in my current role at Texas Capital Bank, like in my enterprise finance role, I'm supporting private wealth. So my life has been a full circle, which this has been pretty amazing. I've been able to understand how that division works front to back. And I think that's really awesome to say.
And so like, you've been like around various lines of businesses in the bank. So you have like a really good understanding of what drives a bank, like what their bottom line is, what their bread and butter is. You've seen all
Right.
different aspects of it. Do you ever do you ever plan to actually go to New York and like work on action? Well, most of the banks are no longer like on Wall Street, but do you
Mhm.
have a plan to ever kind of move out to New York and pursue your career there? That would be a real full circle.
Yeah, yeah. No, that would be a real full circle. I thought about it, um, but me personally, I can't get past the New York living. Like being born and raised from Texas, that's been an opportunity and a possibility. But a lot of those New York-based companies, they're building regional offices in Texas and Dallas. You no longer need to go to New York. Like the Texas, I don't know if you heard about it, but the Texas Stock Exchange is going to be coming in the near future. And they want to, so on my street where a lot of the banks are, it's called McKinney, and some of our bank colleagues want to turn McKinney to Y'all Street instead of Wall Street.
Oh
To
my
get
God,
that
that's
Y'all
so
Texan flavor.
good. Oh my God, I love
So
it.
I think in today's age, there's a lot of possibilities in New York, but I think there's endless opportunities for young financials to really grow their business, grow their opportunity in Texas, in Dallas as well.
And of the roles that you've done, what do you think is your favorite role?
I would say my current role, like I
Oh,
love my current
nice.
role, like to do strategy work, help leading my private wealth organization, but then also my operations organization, and just seeing the efficiencies that we can put into place. But then also working with numbers, like I haven't had to work with numbers as much as I currently do in my role. So a lot of my forecasting and budgeting and really driving business, driving that bottom line, that P&L, it's really fantastic work, and I'm able to see the work that me and my colleagues are putting into place at a more granular level that I think it makes me feel good.
Ooh. So well, tell me what your day to day is like.
So about day to day, I normally wake up. My commute from I live a little north Dallas, about 15 minutes north Dallas without traffic. But you're in Texas, so you have traffic. So it takes me about 25 to 30 minutes to get to work. Normally sit down, I go grab coffee. You kind of need coffee in the morning if you work in
Naturally.
corporate America. It's that extra jolt.
It's a vibe.
Yeah. And then I first go check my emails just to see if anything come through overnight. I may have a couple of meetings lined up through the day. I'll work with my manager to just go over the work that we need to do either today or throughout the rest of the week, because it kind of is at my own pace. I have things to take care of, but I have to know like what's priority and what's important, right? Everything you get at your desk is important, but some things are priority, right? So you have to know how to say, hey, like, this is more important than this right now. So I'm going to delegate my time and my tasks here. But also my team at the Texas Capital Bank is amazing. Like, so a lot of my counterpartners, they support our technology arm in corporate real estate. And just, I think the bank has done so well of grabbing the best talent from other places. So um, our CEO, Rob Holmes, came in 2021 and he really wanted to change the bank into having a full service platform, right? So to serve all our clients' need from investment banking to private wealth, all the way to treasury solutions. And in order to do that, he's drawn the best talent from Bank of America, Charles Schwab, Goldman, and just to have a high intellect in one place. And we kind of all working on this goal of really producing the best service and opportunity and solution for our clients. I think it's awesome. It's definitely one of the best work environments that I've ever been in. Like we actually like each other. We
Oh, I
talk
know
about
that's so important.
yeah, we talk about personal life as well, and we're really collaborative as well. Like if there's anything I need, then like I know I can lean on my counterparts, especially in my first couple of weeks joining Texas Capital Bank. My manager went on jury duty, so it
Oh
was just like
God.
but, but work still had to go on. So, but I had a great team to lean on to, a great manager, a great director. So it ended up working absolutely fine.
And then in your current role, do you do, is it a lot of like data analysis with numbers, or what's that like?
Absolutely. So I do a lot of data analysis. So a lot of my PowerPoints and presentations do go to our executive board. So in order to formulate that in different charts and different views, we do have to extrapolate data. If that's from our deposits, our loans, assets under management. So definitely heavy in Excel every day. Have to understand how to do all the different type of Excel formulas. That's why like these CFI course was so pivotal to me because I didn't take a lot of intermediate or advanced finance classes or management classes because econ was in our liberal arts division. So I took that financial modeling evaluation and analyst certification to give me the extra leg, but also to learn. I think you always want to learn. Kind of as I said in my LinkedIn post, like the day you stop learning is a day like your mind would no longer be here, right? So the course really helps me do that. So a lot of my time's in Excel and then PowerPoint.
And do you ever lean on kind of like the AI stuff that's come out lately, like ChatGPT and whatnot? I'm always curious whether people at financial institutions are kind of absorbing that into their workflow lately or not yet. It's
Right.
banks are always slow to kind of,
You're right.
it sounds weird to say, but they're kind of slow to adapt new technology.
Don't want to say we're last, but we're last.
Yeah. Don't want to
But
say it, but it is.
we, I think as a bank, we have started, pulling AI into certain data feeds in different organizations. In my current day to day, not too much. Like if I have a question about something like that I've never done before, I'll go to like ChatGPT or Google. But normally, um, not really.
And it's so interesting that you say that as econ as a liberal arts degree, you guys didn't necessarily do like the PowerPoints and whatnot, but and Excel. But at least when I was in school, which was further back than you, we definitely did not have courses that were really using Excel or PowerPoint.
Right.
basically the tools that you would use in a workplace. We didn't have courses that actually prepared you for that. So I don't know if
Right.
it's changed since then, but I remember when I first started I had an internship at a major pension fund in Canada. And I just remember thinking, oh, like, what am I going to do on my first day? Like, it's going to be so different. And I had
Right.
friends that were going to back then, like Merrill Lynch in sales and trading. And my
Hmm.
friend was like, what do I do? What do I take? Do I like take an econ textbook? And so like, it's so strange because you're mentally, you're like prepared. You've done everything that you are supposed to do in school. You've done your best to excel. No pun intended. But when you get there, you don't really necessarily do anything that you learned in school. You're supposed to kind of apply it, but the tools are so
Right.
different. So I'm like
Right.
so glad to hear that CFI was helpful in that way.
Absolutely. Because to your point, college doesn't prepare you for your everyday or real day job. College helps you learn how to work with others. I think that's one of the biggest lessons. Like, can you work with others? Can you ask questions? Can you put yourself out there? Join different organizations, go volunteer. And those are things that you're going to do at banks, right? Or wherever you go. You're going to join a employee research group. You're going to do some volunteering. You're going to have to work with your colleagues, either if you like them or not. And when you're in college, if you were in a project, you may have had some people or students in your group that you just absolutely hated and you just didn't want to work with them. So you learn how to navigate that space. But I do agree from what you're saying because I think this day the education system doesn't teach what students and adults really need to know in order to thrive in this in the real world.
And given where you are today, I'm curious. You sound like a planner, and I feel
Definitely a
like
planner.
you're a planner, but also I feel like just like in the time that I've gotten to know you, you're obviously very likable. You are probably very easy and fun to work with. Clearly smart, clearly driven. In the next 3 years, 5 years, what's your plan? And like ultimately, um, I always like to say, like, at least for me personally, I like to have kind of like short term goals that are like 1, 3, and 5 year, but then like a really big kind of goal that is just more like, like I want to be the CEO of like some type of company that I found.
Right.
What are, just put it out there and manifest a little bit. What are your
Right.
goals in the coming years?
Absolutely. And it's amazing you asked that question to me now because this is coming on my fifth year working in finance, right? And so that's kind of like a reflection year to me 5, 10, 15, dominations of five, right? Um, and so this year's been it's been a reflection year, kind of seeing like where I've been, what I've done, all the skills that I've learned, and now how have I been to put them all together and apply them. And I think I've been able to do that in this current role in my fifth year and to see my growth professionally and personally. I think it's been amazing. I start with my biggest goal because I think it's easier to start there. My biggest goal is I want to own an NBA team. Like that's my biggest goal.
You
Like
want to what?
that's own an NBA team.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
yeah,
I hope this works out for you because then I can come back and be like, oh my gosh, Nigel, remember that time? Which
yeah.
team?
Um, I don't. It doesn't matter. I think I'm not really. I'm not really too. Um, I guess particular on the team. I just want to. I just want to do that. I love basketball, and I think it's basketball and running a business. Like put it all together. Like what's the best way? So like that's like my biggest goal. But looking like 3, 5 years out, I just want to keep growing and learning. I just want to see how far I can go. Um, I, I think I want to keep doing this, the FP&A financial strategy for sure, because I do think I was born for this. Like strategy, I
I
really do.
love when I hear
Like,
that someone loves their current job, thinks that this is like the one that they're meant to do.
yeah, like I do really believe that I was born to do strategy. Like I've always wanted to do that, and that's that planner in me, as you were saying. Because sometimes I'm like, how are people doing things? But um, I think that's where I'm focused on is just really growing where I'm at now, making those connections. Because you never know when they're going to come like full circle. So it's just been a really great opportunity. Um, and then another thing that I really want to say and do is that I probably want to um, I want to manage and like work with people. Like that's something I'm really passionate about. I think like, I've always been able to give back to students coming after me, and so being a mentor to a lot of like my brothers and sisters, I think that is very important to me, and helping them drive their professional career in corporate America is challenging. Like it is not easy, especially as a minority. Like how do I navigate this space? Like what do I need to know, and how can I put myself in the best position? I do want to help those after me, so I think that's what I would really be excited for is next is having people having someone under me and just helping them grow their career professionally.
Oh my God. I love hearing that because I just remember when I started on a trading floor, and I remember at least in like, in Toronto or in Vancouver, I'm like, I guess I'm technically considered a minority, but when you see, it's like kind of like I'm a visible majority at school. Like there's
Right.
lots of Asian people around. But I just remember when I went on the trading floor, it like really opened my eyes. Like I was clearly a visible minority at that point.
Mhm.
But ever since then, it I had wonderful colleagues and it was such a great experience. But I would love to see more representation of like
Absolutely.
me, and just as you do with you, I think it's such a great way to give back in a way.
Yeah.
It's like it's helping the help. It's kind of like helping you when
Hmm.
like if you when you look back and see all you've achieved to give back to the people that are coming up. It's such a wonderful thing to do.
You know, it's important. I can never forget. Maybe like my second year in corporate America, like someone told me like, um, I'm glad like you're in corporate America, but I just feel like we're just not supposed to be there. And yeah, like they told me that, and I don't know if it made me frustrated, but I can see why they say that just because of everything going on, how much lack of representation they feel like it's just not the space we're supposed to be in. But I like to always be the outlier and show people why that space is for everybody.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
so
You want to go where you want to be. Like there's not a
yeah,
place where it's like it's not for you or anything. It's like if you want to be there, be there.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
like especially with people like you, there's just like if you don't feel like if you want to be here but you feel like you don't belong here, like guess what? Like I'm here to help you and support you to make you feel like you belong. Because if
Right.
you've
Mhm.
already gotten here and you are here, like you deserve to be here.
Yeah, yeah. No, there was a quote that I've seen is that it goes something like, if you're in a room, God meant to put you there. No matter the room, like you're meant to be there. And I had it as my lock screen on my phone. I think my full first year in corporate America. Yeah.
Amazing. And what a way to conclude our podcast. I have to say though, you heard it here first. Nigel Rayford gonna own an NBA team. I'm gonna be courtside at a game eventually.
I got
Thank
you.
you. Thanks so much for joining us today, Nigel. I think this has been my most fun podcast so far, and I'm so glad I got to meet you. And
I'm
I'm
glad
so
to hear
glad
that.
that everyone listening that's got to meet you.
No, thank you for the opportunity. Thanks. I thank CFI for just allowing me to expand my knowledge and really growing as a professional. So I'm really glad to be on this podcast, and I hope it touches lives and people that may normally not think that they're supposed to be there, but they are.
I'm so glad you're here.
I
And thank you,
appreciate it.
everyone, for listening to another episode of CFI's Member Spotlight. And we will see you again next time.
Sounds good.
Thanks for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed the conversation. FinPod is brought to you by Corporate Finance Institute, the #1 rated online provider of finance and banking training, certifications, and productivity tools.